Okay, so it's day 2 of the lockdown project. Snatching time between teaching Lauren to skateboard, a bit of boxing with her and Manon, and trying to keep the girls fed. Apparently they need to feed every day, a few times a day, so yeah, we're trying to snatch time when it seems like we should have more time. But here we go, we're going to get back on the mat, day 2, so today we're going to go through the Sun Salutations. Sun Salutations are like a sequence of movements that are repeated over and over, introducing a few of the more common yoga poses like the warrior pose, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, high plank, low plank, Cobra pose can be in there as well, Tadasana. So we're going to go through all of these things and also connecting the breath with the flow. So these sequences, something that we repeat over and over. The first one, Surya Namaskara A, which is Sun Salutation 1, is repeated 5 times, each time the same, but what we'll do is we'll look at a few of the easier ways through the vinyasa flow and then progressively go into the more advanced forms towards the last couple. And then Surya Namaskara B, which is the Sun Salutation, the second one, we go through once. That can be varied, but we'll just do the standard basic one. I'm going to warm up on the mat first like we did yesterday because I've just come in from playing cards and doing things like that. So I'm going to go through that. If you want to skip this bit you can, and then we'll go into the Sun Salutations. Okay, so I'm just going to start off from Tadasana, standing. I'm going to try and calm myself down because I just lost a shithead. So I'm going to breathe, I'm going to lengthen the breath through the chest here, expanding the lungs, expanding the ribs, the head towards the sky, a basic mountain pose, Tadasana. Breathing in and breathing out, calming myself. Breathing in and breathing out. And I'm going to go down onto the mat into child's pose like I did yesterday. I'm going to start to warm up my spine, so on the way there, going into all fours. I'm just going to rock from side to side. Breathing in, lengthen the spine, feel the lungs expand, feel the ribs expand, freeing my body. And then I'm going to drop down into Balasana, child's pose, taking the hands back to the heels, and I'm going to drop down my head towards the mat and just wriggle from side to side. I can feel tension in my hips here, so I'm just going to loosen that out a little bit and lengthen the spine at the same time. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in, calming myself down, slowing down the movements now, and breathing out. I'm going to bring the hands around to the front, stretch out the arms, open the shoulders a little bit, looking forwards. Breathe in and out here, expanding the ribs under the armpits. Coming up, breathing in. And breathing out, arching the back up into the cat stretch. Stretching out the back. Breathing in, dog stretch. Arching the back. Chest towards the mat. Wriggling from side to side again. Breathing out, stretching out the back. Breathing in, trying to flow with the movements now into the shoulders, straining the arms and the wrists. Breathing out, stretching up. Breathing in. I'm going to drop the knees back a little bit and reach out. Chin towards the mat. Open the back, push back into the hips. Breathe in. And breathe out. Coming back up, moving from side to side, bring the hands back under the shoulders, fingers strong in the mat, good position in the hands. I'm going to go to the toes of the back and I'm going to push up into high plank. From here I'm going to come down, keeping the elbows tucked to the side of the body, breathing out, breathing in. I'm going to come straight up into an upward facing dog. Just the tops of my feet on the mat. And I'm going to roll my toes over and go back down here. Go right to the mat here. I'm going to bring my forearms forward. I'm going to a small Cobra pose, Bhujangasana. Here, and I'm just going to wriggle the back from side to side. This is one of the poses that we can go through in the Sun Salutations. So nice to just touch on it here. We'll go down, take the hands to the mat and just push up gently into the back. Again, rocking from side to side, breathing in, expanding the lungs, no tension in the shoulders. And back down. I'm going to go into that again, this time taking the hands off the floor. And back down. I'm going to engage the feet. You can use the knees here if you want, or just come straight up into high plank. I'm going to go back down to warm up the shoulders and back into downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. And here I'm just going to rock from side to side a little bit, try and get that nice straight line from the hands to the hips and from the feet to the hips again. And then when I feel good in the pose, I'm going to just stop moving and just breathe, and the breath will now become the movement in the pose. Good, feeling warm already. I'm going to come to the toes, bend the legs. And I'm going to step forwards back into the Tadasana, the mountain pose. Big toes go together, heels slightly apart. I'm going to extend the back parallel to the floor. Breathe in. I'm going to breathe out and drop the head into Uttanasana, forward fold. And then slowly bend the legs. I'm going to roll the back up, vertebra by vertebra to standing. Shoulders high, drop the shoulders, and then back to where we started. Drop the head to the left, drop the head to the right. I'm going to quickly just stretch out the shoulder, take hold of the right hand in the left hand and go up to the side, keeping the chest facing forwards. Breathe in, breathe out. Back to the middle, side to side, change hands, change wrists. Another side. Feeling that really nicely in the side of the body. Stretch up tall and down. And now we're ready to start with the Sun Salutations. So the first one, Surya Namaskara A, is all the movements that we've done already. So we're going to go straight into that. This is going to be 5 times through. Each movement you make is made with the breath. So it's important to try and get a flow for it. The first time we go through, we're going to go into Bhujangasana, the Cobra pose, without the hands that we just did. And we're going to use the knees on the way there. Then in the next one, we're going to we'll take the knees away. And then in the next one, we're going to upward facing dog, and we'll take it from there. Okay, so 5 repetitions of this. You're going to get a little bit warmer now. I brought a towel in because I get pretty sweaty. So we're going to start off from here. Just calm the breath, breathe in, extend the spine, and breathe out, drop the hands. On the next breath in, we're going to go tall, Astasana. On the breath out, we're going to go down, Uttanasana, all the way down, forward, forward fold, keeping the back as straight as you can. And come halfway up, Ardha Uttanasana, extend the spine parallel to the floor. Breathe in. Breathe out, hands go to the mat, step back, high plank, and in the out breath we go down onto the knees and we roll forwards and through into lying on the mat here. Petit Chaturanga, small Chaturanga here. And we're going to lift the chest into Bhujangasana or Cobra. We're going to take the hands away, point the toes, breathe out back to the mat, come back to the knees, engage the toes and push up into high plank. If you're feeling active here, you can go down and do one little push and back into Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. We stay here for 5 breaths. So really feel the pose, spread the fingers, get the heels of the hands into the mat. If you can, get the heels down. If you can't, stay on the toes, bend the legs a little bit to push more the hips towards the sky. Like this. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1. Breathe in 2. We're calming everything down here. But we're feeling the pose, moving in the pose. You can feel the extension of the spine with each breath. Breathe in 3. Breathe in 4. On the fifth breath in, we're coming up onto the toes, looking forwards. On the out breath, we're bending the legs a little bit. On the breath in, we're stepping forwards, big toes together, and extending the spine parallel to the floor. Breathe out, drop the head, chest towards the thighs. Breathe in, come up slowly, keeping the back straight this time. Arms go to the sky. We finish the breath by the thumbs and the fingertips coming together. And breathe out, hands down by the side. Straight into the next one. Breathe in. And breathe out all the way down, finish the breath at the bottom. Breathe in halfway, extend the spine. Parallel to the floor. Breathe out, hands to the mat, step back. This time without the knees, all the way down. Lie on the mat. Point the toes, lift the hands. Bhujangasana, Cobra. Breathe in. Breathe out, hands to the mat. Engage the feet without the knees, push up and straight back into downward facing dog. And again, 5 breaths here. Breathe in. And breathe out. Again, try and push into the hips. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in 3. And breathe out 3. Breathe in 4. Breathe out 4. Breathe in 5, come onto the toes, look forward. Breathe out 5, bend the legs. Breathe in, step forward, big toes together, extend the spine parallel to the floor. Breathe out, drop the head and the chest towards the thighs. Breathe in, coming up, keep the back straight, fingertips and thumb together, gaze at the thumb. Finish the breath here. Breathe out, hands to the side. And again, breathe in. Breathe out, Uttanasana all the way down with the breath. Breathe in halfway, extend the spine parallel to the floor. Breathe out, hands to the mat, step back, high plank, straight down. This time we're going to hover in Chaturanga and we're going to roll onto the top of the feet. We're going to upward facing dog. Breathe in. Breathe out, roll the feet, push straight back, downward facing dog. You can adjust your feet. Feet are about hip width apart, hands shoulder width apart. Breathe in. And breathe out. 1. Breathe in 2. Breathe out 2. Breathe in 3. And breathe out 3. Breathe in 4. And breathe out 4. Last one, breathe in, look forwards, come onto the toes. Breathe out, bend the knees. Breathe in, step forward, big toes together. Extend the spine parallel to the floor. Breathe out, drop the head, chest towards the thighs. Breathe in, keep the back straight, coming up. Bring the hands to the sky. Gaze at the thumb, touch the fingers at the end of the breath. And breathe out. 3. 2 more, breathe in. And breathe out. Start to flow with the breath. Breathe in, look forwards. Breathe out, step back. Breathe in, high plank. Breathe out, lower down, keep the elbows tucked. Low plank, roll up, breathe in into high, into upward facing dog. Breathe out all the way down, low plank, high plank, push back. So we added in a little movement there back into the low plank that we missed out on the last one, so we've made it a little bit more progressive each time. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in and breathing out. Breathe in 4. Breathe out 4. Breathe in 5 onto the toes. Breathe out, bend the legs. And breathe in, step forward, big toes together. Extend the spine. Breathe out, drop the head. Uttanasana. Breathe in, keep the back straight, coming up. Hands to the sky, breathe in. And breathe out. Final round, we're going to do a jump back this time. So we're adding in one more element, breathing in and breathing out. Breathe in halfway, hands to the mat. Come forwards this time, take the balance onto the big toes and drop back. Hands in, low plank, rolling up, upward facing dog. Back down, low plank, up and back. Bhujangasana. Set the feet, set the hands, breathe in. 1. Breathe in 2. Breathe in 3. Breathe in 4. And breathe in 5. Onto the toes, bend the legs. Breathe in, jump forward, set the feet gently as you can, big toes together. Extend the spine and then drop down. Breathe in, coming up, back straight, all the way up. And back to the start, Tadasana. Okay, so that's Surya Namaskara A. And there we've gone through a different sequence each time. So we've started off with the first one, the basic one, using the knees, lying on the mat, a small cobra, and then we've progressed each time taking away one of those elements. So if you are happier with the first one, you stick with that and you repeat that 5 times. As you advance, you start to mix into the ones we've done till you get to the last one there, where we've done the one with the jump back and the jump forwards. Okay, so now we're going to go through into Surya Namaskara B. So here we're adding 2 more poses. We're adding the Tadasana, Bhujangasana, which is, like it says, like sitting on a chair, but obviously a lot harder because the chair's not actually there. In this pose here, it's from Tadasana, so the big toes are together, heels slightly apart. You're going to keep the knees together as we go down, and the breath comes in. As the breath goes out, we bend down and bend the knees together here. And from there, keeping the back straight and the shoulders relaxed, breathing in, and coming up and gazing between the hands. Some people can have their hands together here without restricting the breathing, but for now, just gaze between the hands, and that's Tadasana. Okay, from there, we'll carry on down and we go into the floor. The other movement that we're adding is Virabhadasana, Warrior 1. This is one of the great warrior poses, one of the great yoga poses that you've probably seen before. The stance is similar to many stances in the martial arts. It's kind of a warrior stance, a ready stance. In yoga, we're using it in a more static way than a dynamic way, but there's a lot of dynamic elements in the stance. And at the back foot, we're trying to keep flat, we're trying to roll that to the outside edge. The hip, we're trying to bring forward so it's parallel to the front of the mat. So the hips are facing forwards. The back leg's straight, it's taking most of the weight in the pose. The front leg's got very little weight on it. We're trying to get down so that we can get the front thigh parallel to the ground. The width of the stance, hip width apart this way, the length is kind of up to you. As you get more into it, you might go into a longer stance, but start with something that's comfortable. The front foot's facing forwards, hips, like I say, pointing forwards. There's a slight back bend in here, in that we're trying to keep the chest facing up. The arms are going to come up and go above us here, but we're trying to restrict any tension in the shoulders and any restriction in the chest. So you can bring them forwards here, so they're just coming out the front, rather than constricting the chest and you breathe in here. Okay? So something like this. You see a lot of this pose with the hands together. The hands together you can bring, as long as the hands are in front of the chest here, and you take the shoulders and up with the back bend, rather than restricting the chest with the hands over the ears. Okay, so it depends on your flexibility in the shoulders where the hands go. But for now, we're going to stick with hands apart, springing them up, and we're trying to drop this hip here, forwards and through, whilst keeping the back foot flat and on the outside edge. So there's a lot of things working in opposition in the warrior pose. It's a great pose for warming things up, working into the psoas muscles, the hip flexors, creating a bit of tension and a good bend in the back. Okay, so it's a really good pose, and we come into it quite a lot in this next sequence, Surya Namaskara B. Surya Namaskara B. Start from Tadasana, the mountain pose, big toes together, heels slightly apart. Lift the shoulders, relax the shoulders, extend the spine, head towards the sky. Breathe in and breathe out. And on the next breath in, we're bringing the hands up, bring the breath with the hands. Breathe out, we're bending the legs, Utkatasana chair pose, we're coming right down into the chair, dropping the hands. Breathe in, the hands come up, extend upwards through the spine. Breathe out, hands down, chest towards the thighs, fold forward, Uttanasana as before. Breathe in, extend, parallel to the floor with the back. Come onto the big toes if you can. Drop back and all the way down, low plank. Coming up, upward facing dog. Rolling back, downward facing dog as before. We're not stopping here though, we're going to lift the right leg and extend it behind, pointing it to the sky, try and keep it straight. Breathe out, step forward, all the way as far forward as you can, setting the stance for Virabhadasana or warrior pose. So about hip width apart, as long as you can. Take the hands away, flatten into the back foot, straighten the back leg, strengthen the front leg, thigh parallel to the floor. We'll take the hands to the hips just for now to get into the pose. Hips are facing forwards, shoulders are stacked above the hips. A slight arch in the back, bringing the chest towards the sky. Breathe in. Breathe out, sink into that hip, the back hip there, arch in the back. Breathe in, lift the hands. Gaze between the hands. Breathe in 1. We're going to be here for 5 breaths. Breathe in 2. With each breath, try and get further into the pose, further into the back hip, opening the muscles in the hip flexors. Breathe in 3. Breathe in 4. Breathe in 5. On the out breath, on the 5th breath, we're coming forward, strengthening the thigh, hands to the mat, step back, high plank, straight down, low plank, roll forwards on the feet, upward facing dog, roll back on the feet, downward facing dog. We're going to be here for 3 breaths. Breathe in 1. Breathe in 2. Breathe in 3. On the next in breath, we're going to lift the left leg, point it into the sky behind, keep the leg straight, hips flat. Breathe out, bring it forward, set the stance. Virabhadasana, about hip width apart, back foot's flat, back leg straight, strengthen the front thigh, come up, take the hands to the hips again, and just square the hips off to the front of the mat. Breathe in, lift the shoulders, lift the chest. Breathe out, sink into the hips. Breathe in, lift the arms. Breathe out 1. Breathe in 2. Breathe out 2. On the in-breath, extend the spine. On the out-breath, keep the length and drop into the hips. Breathe in 4. And breathe in 5. On the out breath, bringing the hands down, strengthen the front thigh, coming all the way down, high plank, roll onto the toe of the back, step back, high plank, low plank, roll through, breathe in, up, upward facing dog, roll on the feet, downward facing dog for 3 breaths. Breathe in 1. Breathe in 2. Breathe in 3. Okay, we're going to do a quicker rotation now, so we're going to breathe in, lift the right leg. Breathe out, step forwards, set the stance straight away, Virabhadasana. Breathe in, come straight up, hands go up, fill the pose straight away. Breathe in, On the out breath, we're coming all the way down. Strengthen the front leg, hands to the mat, step back, high plank, low plank. End the breath there, breathing it in, coming up. Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Roll back. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. One breath. Breathe in. And breathe out. Breathe in, lift the left leg. And breathe out, step forward. Set the stance, warrior pose. Breathe in, come straight up into the pose, arms up. Breathe out, hands to the mat, step back, all the way with the out breath to Chaturanga at the bottom. Roll up, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. If you want, you can go back down, up and back, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Do that one more time. We're going to lift the right leg, breathe in. And breathe out. Step forwards. Set the stance. Breathe in, come up, one breath. Breathe out, hands down. All the way down with the out breath. Roll forwards and up, breathe in. Breathe out, down for an extra pump. And back. Breathe in, lift the left leg, and breathe out, step forward. Breathe in all the way up. Breathe out all the way down. Breathe in up. Breathe out down and back for 5 breaths. Ardha Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Breathe in, fill the pose. 1. Breathe in 2. Breathe in 3. Breathe in 4. Breathe in 5, looking forward onto the toes. Breathe out, bend the legs. Breathe in, step or jump forwards. Extend the spine parallel to the floor. Breathe out, Uttanasana, drop forwards. Bend the knees. Breathe in, Chairasana, Utkatasana. Breathe out, sink a little more. Breathe in, hands to the sky. And breathe out, back to Tadasana. And that is Surya Namaskara B. So by now, should be quite warm. From here we'd go into whatever the theme is for the practice. So tomorrow we're going to look at opening the hips a little bit. Using Surya Namaskara B, the vinyasa in the start of that, to go in and explore a few more poses. Open the hips and try and get us moving in the right direction towards being really useful aging athletes. Okay, so hope that was good for you. I got quite warm doing that. Always have a little towel nearby. You can finish off now as you lie, just relax, sit, do a little bit of your own stretching if that's something that you do. We're going to call it a day there, and then tomorrow we'll lengthen the sequence a little bit, explore a few new poses, and each day we'll build it up a little bit at a time. Okay, so I hope that's been okay for you. I know the sound quality is not great, it's just that's what we have at the moment. I can't nip out to the shops and buy a mic or anything, so we're just going to have to deal with that. So enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.